Item number 2, go to item 3. Consider an act on any adjustments for relief. Anything this month?
Nothing from me.
All right, thanks, Mike. Thanks. The next item is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll approve it.
A second.
Okay. Any discussion?
It was a quick meeting.
Okay. All right, maybe you should run them all the time. Right? Everyone's
She was
probably
pretty fast last time.
Yeah, get Diane in here. Yeah, really? Okay.
Hardly. We missed your commentary.
Okay. Everyone approves, say aye.
And
Any against? I abstain. I was not there. Okay. Motion approved. Okay, number 9. This one will take a little discussion. Katie, I think you're going to help us with this. It's consider an act.
Say your spiel and then I can add anything in Jeannie.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
the
this
intern.
We do this every 2 years. It's the MCAD Board of Directors, and Arthur Brickhoff is a special district representative, and he's already on the board now. But the elections are here, and this went right out of my hand.
Well, they have 19 votes.
You have 19 votes, and if you want to split your votes or give your votes to somebody else on the ballot, they'll go to Arthur anyway.
so this is a moot point.
Well, why
Yeah,
did we have to do this now? Because didn't we already do this before?
This is the third and final step. Intention to get involved, nomination, vote. So this is the final step.
So the first one was for him to be
Nominated
nominated.
For special
for a
district.
special district slot. And since you're a special district, that's why your votes only go there, because you can't vote on the other slots because you're a special district.
What's unfortunate that there's nothing in the paperwork that says that, right?
Yeah, on page 15,
Let's
there's
say.
probably the only thing that would point to that is it says, as a reminder to the special districts, any votes passed by a special district will go to the candidate elected by the special districts.
Mhm.
The only special district candidate is Arthur, which isn't very clear. And
That's the part that, he's
Yeah.
on the top of the list, but he's outside. It's alphabetical. He just happens to be
Yeah,
the first
yeah,
one on the
there-
alphabetical list.
there isn't really anything that
Yeah.
makes that very clear.
Okay.
But he's a director on Metro's board of directors. And he currently has that position, right?
Yes. I'd like to keep it.
Yeah, and I think the township also voted in that same regard. So it's our action here is to either consider an act and on the resolution, right, which would ultimately sets up the ballot, which then gets turned in, I guess, by the date December 15th. The only other action we have is to not vote, or the resolution fails. If this group decides doesn't want to, right? Is that right? I mean, that's really it's a kind of a binary outcome for us.
Be transferred over to Arthur,
Yeah,
so he's the special
yeah.
district representative. So if you didn't want to vote for Arthur, you could just decide not to vote. But if you did want to vote for Arthur, you would need to take a motion to approve that resolution.
Okay.
So, I mean, not to drag it out. but
No,
there's-
please, this is
There's,
right here.
isn't there like 5 electoral, is it 19? Or I thought I saw we had 5 somewhere in here.
It's 19.
Wait,
Is it
15.
19?
Have 19 votes.
Yeah.
On page 8.
So it is. Oh, okay.
147,
Gotcha.
19. And that's based on tax base, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of taxable receipts. If you stack them all up, you rank them, this is how you would kind of come out.
It's a formula,
Mhm.
and basically the bottom line is it's based on your tax rate. Every time you lower, you could lose, 2 votes.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, and it depends on how many jurisdictions are levying this year, and with the appraisal district budget it's just a whole bunch of formulas that go together to get your number.
So just out of curiosity, how come Montgomery County MUD 201 has 0 votes and they're listed? Did they have one in the? Okay.
They don't have a tax rate.
It's actually.
Huh.
I mean, there's several of them on here right now that don't, they don't need.
So if you don't levy taxes, then you don't get a vote.
Like
That's the
City of
appraisal
Cut and
district.
Shoot, they get nothing.
Interesting process.
Yeah.
And this isn't a resolution prepared. This all came from them.
No, I understand. I understand.
We could have made
You're-
ours more clear.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so then, do we have a motion to consider, the resolution casting the district's vote for the Montgomery County Appraisal District as, specified? For Arthur, all 19 for Arthur. Your second, okay, all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
all right. Motion passes.
Yeah.
Item number 10, consider an act on an updated policy. RS 12 rates for water services and RS 13 rates for sewer service. This is actually putting in the rates that we've all been working on through the budget process.
Right, so
In-
RS 12 and RS 13 are the policy documents that memorializes the rates which you approved last month. So there's been no changes to what you approved last month. You've already approved the rates themselves.
Yeah.
Now they're in these two documents that makes it official.
Yeah.
So we need motion to approve RS 12 and RS 13
Okay.
for water and sewer.
Okay. So I'll ask for a motion to approve RS 12 and RS 13 rates.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
Question,
Well,
what's the
questions?
difference between? I mean, there's two different things here, and one's on page 22. And
One's
another's on,
water and one's sewer.
and it's, okay,
Eight of the districts, there's 10 districts, obviously in the Woodlands, 8 of them have the same rates. 2 of them have their own separate rates.
I missed that one word.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Name, okay, motion carries. Doing great, team. Okay, number 11, discuss matters related to director's election to be called on May 4th, including authorization to post notice regarding candidate filing period. Why do we have to do this? This is,
So,
sorry, maybe you can help us.
in
understand.
even numbered years, there's director's elections,
Right.
so May 4th of next year will be the director's election.
Mm-hmm.
And you're required to post notice of the candidate filing period, in advance of the candidate filing period. Starting, that period is from mid-January to mid-February. So you're required to post notice a certain amount of days in advance of that. I don't think you actually have to post notice until, late December, but just in case y'all didn't meet in
Didn't meet in
December,
December,
I had to
okay.
put this on here. And, us in Woodlands Water will work to draft that notice, but it's not something that goes in the newspaper.
That's what I was gonna
Like that.
ask, because where does this get posted?
No, I think it's similar to your agenda. It gets posted here and on the website and at the courthouse. So I
Yeah.
think that's a similar thing. We have two different people at our office who handle all the election stuff. So they're preparing the different notices for the different counties and things like that. So once we have the notice ready, we'll send it to Woodlands Water and get it posted in the right spots. But it's all a lot of rules coming from the elections code.
Gotcha.
Where
Yeah.
they get posted.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot more stuff to discuss with the election early next year, starting in January. We'll have several items on the agenda. One of those is y'all need to decide if you want to go joint with Montgomery County this year or hold an independent election. So we're working, that same elections coordinator is working to get prices, because there are some cost differences between going joint and going independent. So we'll have more information about all of that in January. But
January.
just in case you didn't meet in December, we wanted to go ahead and get authorization to post that notice.
Okay, so each mud goes through this. You end up just kind of posting one for all of us, or you end up posting 10? Yeah, okay.
So how is it, okay, so there's gonna be a decision as to whether to get into the general election or to hold an independent election. Is this decided by each individual MUD, or is it majority rules?
It is a MUD decision, but typically all the MUDs kind of do the same thing. I think that you've done both in the past. You've gone joint before and you've been independent before.
Because
There's
we were,
been
yeah,
times
we
that-
were in the joint, which was easier because there was other issues that were on the ballot at the same time. So you got a whole lot more turnout.
Yeah, there's usually more turnout if you go joint.
Yeah.
There's also a lot less liability on your elections agent. If you go independent, there's just a
Yeah.
lot of rules you have to
Yeah.
comply with. Unfortunately, Harris County may not be offering joint elections this year, so we may have a lot of districts that are going independent.
Huh.
So, but Montgomery County is offering joint elections this year, so
Good.
we'll gather the different costs and things like
Okay.
that. If you go independent, you have to rent all the voting equipment and things like that. But there is a price to go joint as well.
Yeah.
And it probably could be problematic to have districts do the different, you know, their own and then
Oh,
mixed, because now the community,
Yeah.
where do I vote? And-
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
But like,
exactly. You used to have to come across the street.
because
Here and then
we
go.
have,
Yeah.
we have one of our MUD districts in the Woodlands is actually in Harris County.
Mhm.
It's 336. Yeah.
386.
386. So they may end up going independent.
Aren't they in Harris and
Both.
They're both. So, they may be able to go in
Yeah.
Montgomery County, joint with Montgomery. I'm not sure. I think it's Harris, Montgomery County, 386 though. So I think, maybe they'd have the flexibility to go with Montgomery County. But we'll have a lot more information for y'all. For the, directors who are up for election next year, which looks like Cynthia, Garrett and Craig, we'll have the packets for you probably around the January board meeting, for you to apply the application materials.
So we actually have to vote on this, or just let this kind of discuss matter? Do we do, okay, okay. Okay, so we have a motion to authorize Woodlands Water to the post notice on the candidate filing period.
And move.
We have a
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion needed? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you got it.
So you'll have more information in December or January on, or
In January.
January.
Even December, we'll probably have some more information by that meeting, but definitely we'll have items in the January agenda.
Okay.
All right. Okay, we're gonna receive the monthly FJRA Woodlands Division report.
Yes, sir. Monthly operating report is in your packet, fairly routine month last month. A couple of points to make is the December 4th all mud meeting is December 4th. It'll be held at our location off Sawdust. You know, hope everyone gets to attend and see what new information they're gonna bring. On page 33, there's a one pager on the product.
Can I ask that the focus of that meeting is to really get into some of the rate implications of the wastewater treatment plant, right?
That's my understanding. It's gonna be in the financials.
Yeah, yeah, okay, good, thank you.
Page 33 is just a one pager of a program that we've been participating in. We were approached by Stanford University, some other laboratories about doing a COVID scanning of the wastewater stream. They're really, the point of this is they're trying to improve their methods in detecting these different types of viruses in the wastewater streams. So this doesn't cost them much on the River Authority anything. They're actually paying us to contribute. This website, there's a lot of great information. If you go to that website, it'll bring up a map of the country. We're easy to find. We're the only representatives in Southeast Texas that's doing this. So yeah, there's 10 or 11 viruses. You can go in there and you can see how these kind of trend and uptick. A lot of good detailed information as far as how they're detecting this in the stream also. But that's all I really have for you this month. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
So where are the samples being taken from?
From East Wastewater Treatment Facility in the Woodlands, so
Okay.
plant 1, 2, and 3, both, or all three participating in it.
Okay, and this is ongoing, or this is a limited study, or,
Well, when they first approached us, it was going to be a few months.
right?
And of course, this is all grant funded and.
Right.
But it's been going on now for 7 months. And they haven't given us a time of when it's going to stop.
No, my thinking here is that this is the kind of information that many of our constituents, or at least my constituents, are really concerned about, and lately have been asking, just because of all of the crud that's been going around and kids being sick from school, and really wanting to know that, in quality of water, and that, are we testing for any of these things, and what there are. And I'm wondering if we maybe couldn't think about incorporating this into some sort of a public relations release, because if nothing else, this is great PR.
This is wastewater. So
I understand, but this is the kind of thing that people are asking for, is it top of mind? Is this something that we're actually thinking about? Because that constantly, it is things that I'm always getting asked, is that, do they monitor for what, and always coming up with various pharmaceuticals is the number one thing I'm always been asked about, but also a lot of, the viruses and that are going around here. And it's just something that I think would be great public relations to just put out there, of just, this is one more step that we're actually doing to preserve the public interest.
And now, of course, this is a study.
Right. Right.
And again, they're kind of honing their methods on
Mhm.
detecting, so. But
That's what I was saying. It's like, once it ended and there was like a final report, and that came out, that I think this would be very of a lot of interest to the people here in the Woodlands, just to know that these kind of steps are actually being taken, and that you're thinking that it's top of mind, that you're thinking about that.
Yeah, that website, like, so when you open up the website, I think there's 70 participants
Mhm.
from California to Maine, Texas. up
Right.
north. So it's neat to see the comparison between the others,
Right.
larger cities, smaller towns, whatever. But yeah, it's great information.
Yeah.
Good information. It kind of opens everyone's eyes up to it. Wastewater is just not wastewater.
Just sludge. Yeah.
There are things in it. There always have been. It's just, we're starting.
What we can find and what we can monitor, and going forward, it's got a lot of implications for public health. Yeah.
And so you all do this, you actually get paid to do this,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
this program, we're actually being
Actually-
paid to do this. It's like $1,350 a week for us to, and it's 100% paid. And they
Yeah,
Pay us
yeah.
to do this.
Yeah. I think as we think through our communications strategy, and, John's been obviously working hard on that. I'm with you, Diane. I think how we get access to this and make this available, to say this is something we're participating in, and here are the results. If the webpage does all the rest of the work, right?
Right.
You can-
Right.
You can see all
But
that.
just to put that into
Yeah.
a PR flash,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
going out to the community just shows that, we're SGRA,
Yeah.
if nothing else, is
Yeah.
aware of things slapping on top of Woodlands water.
Yeah. Good.
That's all I've got for you this month.
That's it?
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Any update on the Bear Branch Panther Branch drainage improvement project?
Not this
Nothing
month.
on that one either? Okay. Katie, anything on the returnees report?
Nothing of general nature to discuss
Okay.
today.
Okay, I know we're gonna break off into session here in a little bit. Eric, the general manager's report, what do you have for us?
Couple minor things. Want to let you know that I attended the Texas Water Conservation Association conference 2 weeks ago in San Antonio. And then last week I attended the AWWA Waterline condition-based assessment training. 2.5 days of that to learn how to assess waterline conditioning.
You're an expert now?
Sure.
Right answer.
Sure. It was put on by the the engineers that wrote that California article that we've all read now. So it was the same two guys that were involved in that. So it's interesting.
Any epiphanies?
Nope. Nope. Probably other than for me, that there's just not a one size fits all to how to attack it. And that, we even talked to them on the side about our project. And coincidentally, at the time, SGRA was hosting a mandatory pre-bid for the consultant that would then, and those guys' company were there.
No, is that right?
Here in Houston, but they're from California, those two guys. But that there's not a just smoking one size, you follow this and you got it, you type of thing. And then one was kind of indicating that, you know, maybe destructive is maybe not necessarily the way you want to weigh your efforts, perhaps for cost and benefit reasons. A lot of emphasis put on technologies on the non-destructive stuff, and so yeah, it was good, but that would be the takeaway for me is, you know, when they come in, they're basically, they said they would assess kind of the facts, look at the brakes. There was a fair amount of emphasis on brakes per 100 miles. That was something that kind of seems to be paramount, that you would look at in addition to doing all these other things as you kind of cross-reference the testing with that. You know, if so.
That's a barometer kind of
Seemed to be a reoccurring, seemed to kind of be a reoccurring target.
for 100 miles,
Per 100 miles.
for 100 miles.
Yeah, so the 8 or 9 breaks that we have, you would have to extrapolate across 100, not the 2 miles that we're dealing with on each of those project lengths. So anyway, that was interesting. And Dan from SDRA and David Smith from Mud 46 were 2 other from the Woodlands,
Yeah.
from us, from the team that attended.
Was there any material that you were provided that you can share or put on the website somewhere, put on a Google Drive that we could look through on our own?
Sure, yeah.
I think that'd be really helpful.
Yeah, the majority, so they created kind of a 2.5, 18 hours worth of PowerPoints that we sat through.
Yeah.
And the PowerPoints were essentially derived from M77, which M77 is the AWWA document that kind of spells out how to do this. And so they kind of extracted that
Okay.
200-page document or whatever it is into
PowerPoint. Yeah. Oh, awesome.
a bunch of PowerPoint slides and a lot of it. So there were people in the room. There was 46 people in the room, and there were people from Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Nevada, California, and a few Texas individuals, but not many. And a lot of the folks from up north they don't have AC water line. They're dealing with ductile and cast iron and the nuances.
Free AC line.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
theoretically, yeah. I mean, they just don't have it. They've gone from that to
PVC.
PVC.
Yeah.
That's right, when they replace. And they're dealing with corrosion and electrolysis, all kinds of different things that we're not dealing with the AC. So some of it wasn't just an AC, it was water lines
Gotcha.
and how you would assess water lines, not just AC, but there was a good chunk of AC content as well, though. So it's good.
All right. Thank you.
Wanted to update you on, we finally talked about having a reception, retirement reception for Jim. Finally have honed down on a date, December 14th. It's a Thursday, about a month from now. So that's what we're kind of shooting for. Probably be a 5:30 to 7 after hours kind of come and go here type of thing. So that's in the works. Wanted to point out a couple staff anniversaries. Deanie has hit the 27-year mark.
Wow.
Wow.
Congratulations.
And also Wayne in the office, one of our ambassadors is 10 years.
Awesome.
One other thing I had was the Woodlands Village of Alden Bridge, section 116, which is the development up there on 1488. There's a couple water line easements that need to be granted from the owner to us for water line along 1488. So I've got some easement documents that I'll be signing as the grantee for those water line easements on behalf of y'all. So
And what is this for? Sorry.
water line easement.
Right. For us?
Unfortunately,
Yes, for the development along 1488.
Is this like where Buckshot is? That's not Woodlands there.
This is, there's
Carco.
there's a couple maps we put in here just to kind of give you an indication of where this was on page 51. Yeah, Buckshot Lane, exactly. It's just east of Buckshot.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see there along the right of way, pretty common currents to need easements along the
Yeah.
major thoroughfare.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just some easements that need to get conveyed.
It's coming from the owner to Miss Mudd.
Right.
Who's the owner?
Howard Hughes,
Yeah.
or Woodlands Land Development Company,
Yeah.
the entity they use. There's actually, if I remember, because I kind of helped work on those, there's 2 water, 2 sewer, and 2 storm. And they're all in the depiction on page 51, they're all within that same highlighted area.
You said 2 water, 2 sewer, and what else?
2 storm.
Storm. But only the water getting moved over to our ownership.
No, water, sewer, and
All of it.
all of it. Yeah,
Public facilities.
yeah, basically they put it within the same, it's 50 feet, so they're gonna put water, sewer and drainage in the 50 feet. So, because they're the same acreages.
Did they indicate the reason why they're wanting to do it right now?
To reach that development.
There's a development on Buckshot. like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
applies And
Just wondering if something provoked. Is there a particular need to do it now?
You usually do it on the front end so that you can pave the way to be able to put the utilities in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very normal. It's not something that y'all see a lot, my understanding is, but in my experience, it's extraordinarily common. In any development, you usually are gonna deal with having to get easements, as a developer would, to get easements from the landowners in the area. I don't think we need motion on that, or do we? We need a specific motion? I'm authorized to sign.
Because if y'all just want to authorize him to put it in a motion, to accept the easements.
Is this related to the project back in 2019, original 1488 development?
That's my understanding. Easements.
Well, the bond that we put out to reimburse Howard Hughes for nothing's happened in three plus years. So I don't know if this is an indication that something's about to happen or what.
Not necessarily immediate. I don't know what the
Yeah.
status is. I can ask, but
I'm like Craig, I'm wondering, yeah, what's the triggering event? We're on the back end of this thing, and I don't know
Yeah, so-
what's happening.
if they're starting to design utility extensions, they will not be able to get approvals on anything until they show that they have easements to cross those areas. So it's very common in the front end of any development to go in and get some easements. So that once you start designing, then you submit it to the government agencies for review and approval. You can get a review and approval. You typically won't get government agency approval if you don't have the easements in place.
You historically given the easements, not sold the easements.
Say again? Yeah, these are granted. I don't believe.
They're just giving them to the district, no charge.
Has it always been that way? Have you ever? Oh, so they're
I've never
giving,
seen a developer charge a district for
right,
an
okay.
easement.
Okay.
Sometimes when the district has to go out and get an
Alright,
easement.
So this gives us the right of way.
You might
Okay, I
have
get
to
it.
pay a landowner
Okay.
to cross their, but this is.
Yeah, I've definitely seen if a district needs an easement that the landowner wants some money for sure. But not in this case.
So you can sign without us authorizing anything.
That's my understanding. That's typically how it's been done, but I said, I just decided let's just bring this up and bring.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing it up.
Yeah, he would sign as general manager, but as long as y'all are just directing him to do that, you approve that, then I think it's good.
So we can approve and authorize you to sign on our behalf for the easement on 1488. I have a motion to direct him to do so. Do it.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Abstain, object. Okay. All right, there you go.
Last item I had was to kick it over to John, give an update on communications.
Page 53 in the packet is your communication support. For a variety of reasons, we have I think a particularly wide scope of topics right now that we're communicating on. So I wanted to touch on the main ones here, just to make sure you're aware. There should be questions. If you're not seeing these, you want more information on them, have any questions, of course, reach out to me, please. But I'll touch on the big ones. So infrastructure renewal, we've been doing more on that. We will continue to. We're not touching any specifics. We're simply getting the message out that, hey, are you aware that major components of our system are nearing the end of their useful life? Require reinvestment. So yeah, seeding that in more and more. You're going to see a number of things now and coming up here, billing related. So the current water bill, the ad on the back is the rate adjustment notification. We'll be following that up with social media and emails. And then we've redesigned the back of the water bill so you can compare the 2023 and 2024 rates.
Looks really good.
And good, thank you. We've also got some tools we're implementing on that water bill that will connect the reader, the customer to an online resource to help them understand their water bill. So give them even more information if they're questioning what all those line items mean. Should have seen some emails, hopefully you did, on the US groundwater data presentation. Send that out again. And then the email here soon. And then the annual community survey is out. So we're halfway through the 2-week process gathering responses to that. We're pressed 700 today 5 weeks ago. So that's great. It'll give us a statistically valid sample size and great information to help guide our efforts going forward. So this is the same survey that we sent out a year ago, plus a couple additional questions. Track how well we've done this past year on knowledge and opinion levels. And then some standard seasonal topics on winterization, freeze protection, and so forth. We added a new element to our website. It's the news section. So that's a nice tool for us to point some of these timely pieces, point folks towards a source for that for more information. So those are all housed in one place now on the website called the news feed. And then there's an archive section of that as well. So go back and look at stuff over time. It is the end of in-person outreach event season. We'll renew in January. There's some stuff coming up then. And shout out to Craig for joining us for quite a while there at the Cochran's as well. That was really fun.
Great. It was really neat.
It's warm then. It's cool now. It's good. And then just examples of some of our current materials that are out there on the next few pages. Any questions?
So one comment, the insert that was in the bill introducing Craig and Garrett I got a bunch of people saying, hey, that was really great.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Right.
That looked good.
So thank you. I know you kind of spearheaded that.
Yeah.
And so thank you for doing that. That was well received. And then a follow-up on that is last year we did an end of the year letter. And we're kind of staring at the end of the year. What's going to be the process for that kind of sausage making process?
Right. So we absolutely want to do that again.
Yeah, we do too, I think, right?
Yes. Love to get all the MUDs participating in that. Would like to do that in maybe a more synchronized fashion this time. Last time we were kind of spread out across the MUDs across 3 or 4 months, maybe even longer. I think we try to get those out probably in the February bill. We need to talk about that.
Okay. I wasn't sure when you were thinking. That's why I was asking.
I don't know if you guys meeting.
I would think, because we got involved in it last year, December, for the end of the year.
Well, we can do a lot remotely, right, to set that up via email as far as soliciting information and plugging it into a template as opposed to discussing it in person, right? So
I would just BCC everyone so that there's not everyone responding.
yeah, well, thank you. We'll work through Shelley for that. Absolutely. So that's kind of my vision is we'll have a template. Last round we had multiple formats. I think it'd be a lot more efficient if we had one format that all the MUDs use and it's more direct. Okay, so here are the segments of information we're looking for. Can you give me this? And I'll plug it into that template. We'll do a back and forth, make sure you like it and get it out. I think again, probably February bill seems right to me.
Okay.
maybe March at the latest. Is that?
Yeah, I was just wanting to get a sense of the timeline. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if we we're trying to do by the end of the year, by January, or, February. It gives us
I'm
obviously.
sure they were sent January through April.
Okay.
I'm thinking February.
Yeah, it doesn't need to take 4 months to do that, I wouldn't think, right? At least to mail them out, we should have, I think that's a good goal to put on everyone's table.
Is that kind of a year in review?
Well, we started it, last year, a little bit of looking back and then kind of looking forward as well. And we thought there's probably Woodlands wide information that could be in there that every MUD would be interested in having put in there. And then there's kind of your particular MUD kind of specific stuff. And even that, some of that might be shared as we, whether it's a Spring Branch or Panther Branch, some of those projects span more than
Right.
one. So where are we on those? And then overall, just general kind of additional communications, touching the customer. So that was the genesis of it. And we kind of worked on it in the December meeting.
Yep.
Kind of brought for our part of the kind of the newsletter, as
Yeah.
it were.
Just kind of like everybody kind of, it's like a little brainstorming session of what would you like to see in it? And then we just
Yeah.
kind of put it out there.
So the more formal process, I appreciate you wanting to kind of corral this a little bit
Yeah.
more. That's fine. I'd like us to be kind of getting our thoughts out and getting them to you sooner rather than later, and then let your timeline progress so that you're not chasing us, right?
Right, and things get weird over the holidays.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
We all scattered to the wind. So, look for something early December, solicitation on that
Okay.
after the Thanksgiving holiday. And start getting your ideas together.
So what are some of your plans like for next year?
Well, we're putting that together. We have a strategic plan that's pretty well crafted, maybe a few tweaks. Well, we're always tweaking it. It's always a live document,
Yeah.
but the Public Education Committee has been forming that new strategic plan, which will
Okay.
really guide our efforts. And that's going to be very much in conjunction with SRA and Holloway, the infrastructure communications consultant.
Right.
So they're in process now, developing their plan, and we're going to be working with that plan, informing that plan, working with it, and then jiving that with all of our other communications, which is guided by our strategic plan. So I know that don't make sense, but the planning is very much happening. And I guess from a high level, the 4 focus areas will be the same as they were this year. Okay, so the first area is telling our story, who we are, then water quality, water conservation, and value. But we're going to be tailoring that to the outcomes from this community survey, what we're learning through this process with Holloway and their efforts. New topics arise, structure being a key one. So we will tailor those individual focus areas somewhat to fit the times, as it were.
And the PEC has added a couple members to the group, and we are now coordinating with the township. And so we have the township communication director in the meeting. And we'll be pulling in Howard Hughes as well. And the initial discussion between us, SRA, Township, Howard Hughes is we all want to work together on the 50th anniversary message.
Right.
And so, Howard Hughes and the township already have kind of a monthly prescription of topics that they're going to be, pulling through going, next year. And a couple of them we feel like we can jump in on, help them with some data as it pertains to infrastructure.
Right.
And then also, be a partner to tell some of our story as well.
Right.
As part of that. So we're really looking forward to that. And I mean, everything that we've heard thus far in those meetings with those folks is everybody wants to work together. So that was very reassuring that we're heading in the right track.
Well, maybe kind of think of it is I have some properties out in Arizona, and I get all of the water bills on that from out there. And one of them is from the Salt River project. And in my water bills and that I get, they have come up on a major anniversary. And so they've gone back like over the past 100 years of just, this is how the irrigations first came, and this was our first little hole, and now it's sprawling to all of Mesa and that. And it's just one of those, I think, great community relations to just, if you're going to have a major event like the Woodlands has their 50th anniversary, do we have old photographs from 50 years ago when we first started out, and how, the organization has grown in that. And I was just, it's just kind of like one of those where I opened it up and I was going to throw it away. And I'm like, no, I mean, there's like a historical little timeline of this is the Salt River Project and how it's grown. And I thought, well, with the Woodlands coming up on, a major event, is there a storyline that we could tell as well on just how everything has evolved with regard to our water and sewer service? Because, started out 50 years ago. This was someplace you just drove past 45 and it was halfway between Huntsville and Houston. And now it's this sprawling metropolis. And this is a big component. So wanting to,
That's exactly what's happening. Yeah.
oh, well, good.
What you just described
Oh, okay.
You're hired.
is, it sounds like you have a role to play.
I know. It was just one of those where I was like, this is just too good of an idea not to share, and something, because we've got so many new residents in the Woodlands that just don't understand what the history has been. I mean, I wasn't here 50 years ago, but somebody was, and there's an archive someplace of the photographs and the story and the
We
evolution.
saw George Mitchell's picture that kicked it off.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So that was the
Yeah.
beginning of their 12-month kind of monthly theme. And we're going back to the originator. And then, in fact, they were asking for pictures. If anyone has any old pictures,
Yeah.
please give them to us, because we'd love to include them in. So
We could show them how to build a wastewater treatment plant. You have anything from the 70s?
You look.
yeah, seriously. Yeah. So it's pretty exciting, I think, to kind of hitch our wagon to the 50th and parachute into certain topics. There's a sustainability month, right, which hits a lot of stuff that we're talking
Right.
about. So it's a really it's a target rich environment, I would say, for us to think about.
And it's especially because we're going to be doing so much investment in the future, and that it's good to start educating all of our
Right.
constituents of how far we've come, and the fact that this is like 50 years old, and we're going to have to be making some investments going forward to sustain us for the next 50 years.
That's it. You got it.
And I like to just plant a seed.
You got a lot of seeds here.
I would like to see more public comment. Just in general, it's sort of a metric, of not necessarily angry people, but people that don't understand most of the people, now that I'm on a mud board, they've got all these questions.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're probably reading the inserts, but to actually get people to show up and maybe even just sit and not have comment, I think it would be an interesting goal. See if we could get 5 or 6 people at a meeting, maybe why they should attend, topics. So I'll just leave it at there, that it would be neat to actually get some people involved beyond just going into a website.
Absolutely.
Just an idea.
Another form of engagement. I mean, that would be fantastic if we saw the public really showing up to these meetings.
Well, and there might be just some events going on next year that we might be able to, as MUD directors, just be able to get out there and engage.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the family events in Cochran's Crossing and Alden Bridge, I think those are great events, but maybe something that is a little bit more that would bring in maybe a little bit more the local business communities and that because people don't know what we do.
Just the amount of dollars that go through, it'd be just to try to get the public more involved, and not just awareness, but involvement.
Yeah, and I think, Diane, you put your finger right on it, which is really going to where they are. It's going to be a lot easier to insert ourselves into that way, as opposed to drawing them to us. And so how do we get out, engage them even more? We have our outreach events that we do, and we'll continue to do those. What other opportunities are there?
And really, Holloway's expertise is really to address the push part of it, right? How we push information out, how is it received? What do we feel that is the message is getting out there, and what messages are getting through, what messages aren't, what's effective, what's not. So there's going to be a year of that, as it were, at least probably 2 or so, to really up that game quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good stuff.
Thanks, John.
Great.
Thanks, John.
I had one last thing. I don't remember if it was May or June. I came to you and asked for, the township was asking for support in their endeavor to try to get some funding for a hike and bike pathway
Yeah.
along two
From two
forty-two.
42.
And so it just wanted to update you on that those funds were awarded. And so they are gonna be moving forward with that.
Oh, good.
So, yeah,
I think that's
their
good.
support help.
Good.
That's all I had.
All right. Do you want to roll into the trustee meeting then, Eric? Well, we kind of hit on some of it with the communication, but
There really wasn't too much more.
other than what we're going to talk about during closed session,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
and we talked a little bit about a resolution that will be part of our presentation at the retirement.
Right.
That was it.
Yep, I think that's right. Okay, so that's 16. Recess to close session to consult with district's attorney pursuant to 551-071 Texas Government Code.
Yep.
I think we are. Yes, we are.